I'm Forrest Saunders standing out in front of the state capitol. The group was created originally to help out during disasters, but now the Florida State Guard finds itself chasing migrants in Florida's southern border, the coastal waters there, as well as Texas. We wanted to get a firsthand look to see what they're doing. Check it out. What you're looking at is the flying office of Jenny Busbin.
You can't mess up here.
I feel like I can.
No, I don't think you're
I
good.
don't want to launch something.
The private in the Florida State Guard, now a key player in an ongoing effort to protect the Sunshine State's coastline from undocumented migrants.
And to help, and to be proactive before we get invaded, before Florida gets taken over.
In 3-hour shifts, Jenny sits in the back of this multi-million-dollar aircraft. Her goal, spot suspicious boats and flag them for interdiction by the U.S. Coast Guard. That may sound simple, but there's a lot of tech behind the idea. At the heart of these missions is that thing, the bulb on the nose of the plane behind me. It's a $500,000 camera, and it does a whole lot. With super zoom, heat vision, a tracking system that can auto-ID boats, even the hull numbers on the sides of them, it's a crucial tool in spotting what officials say shouldn't be there.
This is fairly advanced technology.
It's very advanced. But it's helping Florida, it's protecting us, and we need that here.
But does Florida need its volunteer civilian force here? That's a question that has spurred critics for months.
Thank you. Good morning. At ease.
Governor Ron DeSantis revived the Florida State Guard back in 2021. The World War II relic was originally created to supplement the Florida National Guard during the 40s. But DeSantis then pitched the idea as a way to help during state emergencies.
Reestablishing the Florida State Guard will allow civilians from all over the state to be trained in the best emergency response techniques and have the ability to mobilize very, very quickly.
Lawmakers later agreed, greenlighting a cap of 400 members in 2022, which grew to 1,500 members last year. Funding growing too. What was $10 million ballooned to $107.6 million to cover facilities, boats, and aircraft.
Here you go. Roger.
While the first 120 trained cut their teeth on Hurricane Idalia, their role recently became more divisive. DeSantis in February tapped the state guard to combat illegal immigration in another state, Texas. Then just last month, the latest deployment, helping state forces along Florida's coast. The governor using emergency declarations like this one to justify it, meeting the state guard's deployment criteria of a, quote, state emergency. The crisis in Haiti, the most recent. Though the Coast Guard hasn't reported a recent surge in irregular migration to Florida, DeSantis said he's being proactive.
It's the same thing we do when we do hurricanes. We will mobilize stuff, and sometimes those resources end up not being needed. But I would much rather do that and then have it not be needed than to say, well, we knew this was a possibility, but we just didn't want to do. So we're using all the tools at our disposal here.
Previous efforts along Florida's coast without the Guard have yielded big numbers. Since January of 2023, state officials say they've helped the Coast Guard stop 670 vessels carrying over 13,500 undocumented migrants. And more recently,
where we're not seeing what we had seen before.
That's Jay Best, who pilots the planes that carry the state guard. And while he says interdictions appear down, deterrence is still a vital operation.
Your feeling is the word is out.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, none of this is a secret. This is an overt law enforcement action to protect the state, to deter any type of immigration coming in, and to identify if there are any kind of gaps. And if there are, we fill them. We make sure that they're supported.
Critics don't see things so clearly.
So I spoke with some of these state guard members and FDLE here just a few hours ago. And what they told me is they truly believe that they are making Florida a safer place. You think that's true?
Safe from who? The migrants? I can guarantee you, if you look at the numbers, there are more individuals who are being harmed from individuals who are domestic than individuals who are immigrants.
State Senator Chevron Jones represents perhaps the largest population of Haitian migrants in the state. He recently sent DeSantis a letter urging Florida to use its resources to help those fleeing the country instead of turning them around. Jones sees the state guard deployment here and in Texas as little more than a political attack on President Joe Biden's border policies ahead of the 2024 election. In particular, stories like this one, which 25 Haitian migrants were interdicted near Florida, with drugs and weapons on board.
And it's unfortunate that individuals are being dehumanized in this manner, all for the sake of politics, clickbait stories. That's not the type of politics I signed up for.
But back in the back of that State Guard plane, Jenny isn't buying it.
Here's the big question. Do you feel like you're making a difference?
Oh, I do, most definitely. We're protecting Florida, and so it's making an impact. It's saying something. They're getting told, like, hey, there's planes up there. They're watching you. They know where you're going to land. They're going to intercept you. And they're slowing down the rate, so it's doing good.
To her, the mission is making a difference, even if it's just deterrence for Florida's southern coast for the moment.
No regrets about doing this?
No, none. I don't even question that. None at all.
It's a volunteer effort that Jenny says will keep her volunteering her time as long as the State Guard needs it. Now, there was an effort to expand the deployment capabilities of the Florida State Guard during the last legislative session. It basically would have given DeSantis carte blanche to deploy the Guard whenever he saw fit. But it failed to get across the finish line, meaning we might now have to wait and see if it pops up again next year. That's the latest out here at the state capitol. I'm Forrest Saunders reporting.